Okay, this is L. Jermaine Russell again. I'm here to go over actually midday trading. I don't ever really get a chance to do this, and because I know that my week will be a little bit more busier because I have some meetings to attend, I wanted to make sure that I go over this just because it is a great learning lesson, not just for me, but whoever else wanted to learn. So I'm currently in on NVAX. I've been holding this over the weekend. I probably should have sold this morning when it got up to 260. You can still see my order to sell, but at 260 it had a double top, 1 2, and that's within the first what, like 10 15 or 20 minutes. I could have sold, but I was anticipating that it would retest the pre-market high at 265, which it did not. It got to 260 and then kind of just been trailing around this 100-day moving average at 248 now. I've been hoping that this moving average will go above. Yeah, see, meetings. I've been hoping that this 100-day moving average will go above the VWAP, but for some odd reason it's not. So I know around two, that's when buyers or traders, all in general, come back into the market and they're looking to get their position ready for the following trading day, or if not the following trading day, the end of today's trading day. So so I kind of left my position still available. I'm still in at from 230, from $2.30. So I do want to see this go back on up and ramp towards that 260 area. If I look at the year chart, I like I said in the previous video, I do not like this. This is, as my mentor Tim Sykes would say, bad sushi. So I don't like this drop. This drop went from like 860 down to the 120s. I'm never a fan of those. However, the only reason why I did buy this is because it showed breakout potential above 240. So I bought it in the 230 area. So I should have really sold this already, ideally. However, I'm giving it some chance to retest the 265 area, and the momentum on the year chart is starting to head green. So I'm anticipating that it will have another green day, and it's not overbought yet. So, and it tends to do a little bit more stronger when it comes to the overbuying. So this is one of the main reasons why I have not sold it and not chased these two stocks that I really wanted to get in. Well, kind of more three stocks that I wanted to get in on from this morning. We can start with the first one, which is what I end up putting up on Twitter, and this is what I put up 10 hours ago, like clearly before the market started, market opened. It was probably like 3 in the morning. Some of my typing, I was putting in typing errors. See, hold Roku, like I was trying to say holding Weight Watchers, waiting for Roku earnings price action to happen. But either way, out of the stocks I was looking at DCAR, which is covered by that blur. DCAR, which is at the bottom. FUSZ, which I've had some success and not so much success, but it's a stock that has been able to run, and its pattern continues to show me the same thing. And Roku has earnings. Roku has an upcoming earnings report. So I was looking at that one too, just because Roku with earnings, it tends to do well, just like Weight Watchers. But DCAR specifically, I wanted to buy that because it is one, low float, and in the previous video I mentioned that I need to work on finding shares or finding stocks that have shares available float of less than 25 million, and that was definitely what popped up here with DCAR. And another reason why I wanted to buy DCAR, not only did it have a strong green day on Friday, but it also is a recent IPO. This IPO opened up at the end of January. And when it opened up in the end of January, that just gives it enough time for it to actually find some balance in price. So around 215, it started to level out at, and once it started to level out on this Friday, which was this past weekend, or this past last Friday, it actually had a nice green day where it went from like the 215s to the 320s, and now it's still it's trading. It's okay, but what it did this morning in the pre-market is really what I want to get at. So let's go to the 5-day chart, and each candlestick represents 2 minutes. So as I had a trigger that just went off. So what happened here is that at 320, it broke the previous day's high. So the previous day, which was that Friday, it spiked over 320, or well, it was testing 320 in the pre-market, which was over here. So this was Friday, 320. It happened. It came down, trailed down, and then in the after hours on Friday, obviously it had some positive momentum. And when a stock does this on a Friday, going into the next trading week, and this is usually a good indicator that the more good is going to come, and that it did. So once the pre-market started and this stock started trading at 320, it broke 320 and went to 350 and pulled back. That 320 area was, a definite clear breakout. And because it broke out at that 320, and once the market opened, it started to go a little bit higher, where you saw it went up to 390 and then pulled back and then created a day high of 395. I would not be surprised by the end of the day if this tries to retest 390 or the 395 area, maybe even 350, probably more 350 than anything. So if this closes at 350, I would not be surprised. I don't see it really pulling back yet, but I do see it pulling back sometime this week. So because the reason why I say that I don't see it pulling back yet is because the momentum is still in the green, and it's increasing as a bullish signal. So as the momentum is going up, this is what we want to look for in stock, that the momentum is going in the right direction, not really developing a resistance strength index yet, just because it's a newly traded stock. So it's going to be hard to do that right now. But I could see this testing 350 at least a couple of times before either comes back down or it continues to go straight on up. But the next stock I wanted to go over was FUSZ, which is one that I had some good success with, and I've had a bad trade with it as well. But I see its pattern is doing the same thing, where now it's kind of trading, it'll trade up, then come down after a nice spike. Then once it spikes, it will level out, come back up. With spiking, then come back down, level out, and the leveling out is at the previous support. So the previous support back here was in the 20s, and it held the 20s. So it did the same thing here. Well, actually, it kind of broke past 33 cents and went through 33 cents, and then it came back down, holding the 40s. And now it's spiking up again. So I'm anticipating this green candle to do what this green candle did, which was to have a red day and pull back. Maybe hold this 50 cent area. But I do see it having some type of pullback. Right now it is overbought. So I wouldn't be the first to want to rush into it. But this is a rush into it and hold it over a couple of days. However, on the day chart, this is what I wanted to show, because this is one of my trading strategies that I have, just kind of developed and seeing it over time, and it's gradually evolving, where I'm starting to see stocks that are, once they're trading over the 100-day moving average, and the 100-day moving average is over the VWAP, it continues to move higher. And that's what's kind of happened right here with FUSZ. I put it on the 1-day chart so you can see it better. And with the VWAP, this is where this is an indicator where it has all the traders who have purchased at a certain price, and they average it with the amount of shares that traders have bought on that certain price. So it's a variable weighted average price. So the weighted price with the price with the shares, the amount of shares, gives you the VWAP. So because we have this VWAP, and the VWAP is the green line, and it's trading this way, it's trading right below the 100-day moving average. The 100-day moving average is actually kind of pushing the price up a little bit more. So when this happens, particularly midday, an hour after the opening trade, and it continues to go higher, I tend to see, like around 3 p.m. That the stock could continue to go up. So it's in this precarious little area where it can continue to go up, or it will stop going up and actually pull back a little bit. So around that 2:33 p.m. area is really the deciding factor on if this stock will continue to go up. Now, being that if we look at the other indicators like the volume, we've seen that the volume is starting to trickle away a little bit. We're seeing that the momentum is starting to die off a little bit, and now the resist, or the relative strength, if it's overbought or oversold, is starting to pull back a little bit. It kind of gives me an idea that, hey, this might actually pull back, because I wanted to buy this earlier, but because I was already in another trade, I didn't want to force having too many positions open. And this trade will be available at another time, so I didn't want to rush it. But I think that this was definitely a good trade to be in on if you were able to get in early. And as we can see back here, the breakout level was more at the 53 cent area. 53. So once it broke 53, which is right here, it broke out in the early morning. This is a fake out. Early morning fake outs can happen, and this is a clear fake out. But what happens with this fake out is that it came down and came back down to the 100-day moving average. This is why I like the 100-day moving average, because no matter what happens with a stock, it will always trail back towards the 100-day moving average. 9 times out of 10, it will trail back to the 100-day moving average. Only unless there was some news or some type of activity that said that this stock should continue to fall back in price. So this is a good example of how not only will it break out, have a fake out, it will bounce off the 100-day moving average, but as it bounces off the 100-day moving average and is trading near the VWAP, the 100-day moving average can cross over the VWAP and create this potential where, if you got in at 53 cents and you sold at 62 cents, that's 9 cents a share, you're pretty much okay. And it continues to go higher as the trading day goes on. So right now, I would not even think about buying, just because it's so late in the pattern. But this is something to look at if you were in this trade earlier, and you can see that, hey, it is holding the 60s, and the 60 is probably a good selling point if you were in early, because that's where the previous day high was. But even if you didn't want to sell there, 61 cents is a good area to give you an idea of where the price could bounce off of. And so this would be something to look at, as the week continues to expand. I've kept this stock in my in my watch list for a couple of days now, maybe weeks, just because of this trend and what it's doing over the 100-day moving average, over the year, and how it looks on the 100-day moving average on the hour chart. Because the hour chart and the year chart gives me an idea for how long do I want this stock to be around, essentially. So it's bounced off of it and it has gotten higher. And I think it should pull back down to the 60-cent area when it does pull back. 60 cents, the low 60s, the high, the mid 50s. So we'll see on that one. I talked about DCAR, FUSZ, and now ROKU. Do want to go over ROKU a little bit. ROKU is one of those stocks that I talked about in a article where I said that subscription-based stocks have the tendency to run and do well. Not only will this stock do well because it has so much growth potential, it has its earnings coming out, and as we can tell before earnings, which is on the 22nd, I believe, not tomorrow. Oh, 21st. Okay, so 21st after hours, it's going to come out with its earnings report. And I'm anticipating good news right now. Look, this is a recent IPO. It hasn't been out that long, since October of 2017. It's given another green candle. It's pretty much doing all the good things that a stock like this should do. This will be something that's good to actually throw some money in if you wanted to, probably in the, I would think the 48 area when I was originally looking at it was the best price to actually get in at, because that's where it was breaking out. But I've been looking at this stock when it was in the 30s, and I said, I'm gonna just wait, and because I guess mentally married Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers has done okay, but hasn't done as great as I would like over a time period like ROKU has, because it went from 39 to 50, and then once earnings comes out, it's going to go a little bit higher. I can just see that. So it is up 5% on the day. I could see this 100-day moving average starting to go a little bit higher, and this might be an indication of where the 100-day moving average crosses over the VWAP. It's close right now. It was below the VWAP and it is starting to merge with the VWAP. The prices are above both the VWAP and the 100-day moving average. So I am really anticipating this to go a little bit higher. And once it breaks $51, it probably would do just that. So that is ROKU in a nutshell. If this is not on your portfolio, like Netflix, when I mentioned Netflix was going to do a lot of great movement, and it did. Now let's see where it is now, being that this is also subscription-based stock. Yep, it came right back. It was in the 260s last week because of down market, and 240s. I'm sorry. And now it's coming right back, and it's going to start breaking out again. So it's these stocks, especially if you're not afraid and you are willing to take that risk, and you're able to see where that your risk is lower than your reward, you have these earning potentials of these stocks that can just move pretty well. And this has happened over a considerable amount of days. So I like this a lot when it comes to the stock. I'm in on VAX. I kind of wish I did sell this already when it went to 260. Well, actually, really 260 on the day chart. But I didn't. I wanted to retest 260. Once it starts trading sideways like this, I kind of get nervous because I think it's going to come back down to here. But it's trading around the 100-day moving average, which is giving me some hope. And because it's doing that, I just I am a firm believer that it would continue to go just a little bit higher. Um, but I'm not 100% sure, so I will be just watching this until I get further confirmation that it will go higher. No, that if I started to get a confirmation that it will go lower, like something like this is starting to pull, pull below. I'm starting to see the over overselling, and around the 230 area, maybe 330. There might be some overselling because people just want to take their gains, or they just want to get out of their position, or everyone is seeing how this is being shorted as a stock and the price is being pushed down. So because of indicators like that, then I would get out. The momentum is starting to go down a little bit. The volume is getting like a little choppy here and there, so it's not doing 100% of things that I would like to do. So eventually, I'm gonna have to start thinking about getting out. But I am seeing a lot of support on the level two. So the level two is giving me some vote of confidence, but I would be even more. All these emails be popping up all the time. So yeah, it's giving me some vote of confidence, but even though it's giving me some confidence, it is a lot. The the amount of where are you? The amount of shares available is also a lot. 375 million. In comparison to 7 million with DCAR, I would have been in a better position, but it's okay. I could see this kind of give me something a little bit more. I'm not gonna force this trade. I'm not gonna force the trade to get out this trade because of another trade that's moving. I kind of want to stick with my goals and see this, really get to that not 420. 420 would be insane. But it did get to 245 and it's holding it, so I do want to see it actually get to $3 if possible. But if it doesn't get there and it gets to like 370 or gets back to 370, if it gets to 270 or 260, then I'll probably just more than likely to sell it. But that's enough for me. I think that's that's enough where I'll go through. Oh, there goes DCAR. Yeah, see, I said we'll get back up to 350. See, yeah. So that's enough on my end. Hopefully that this will help not just myself because I have to talk it out sometimes, but it will help you who is just watching and probably trying to get a further understanding. If you have any questions, comments, just leave it under in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next round. This is pretty much going to be another nice trading day.